So we're now going to hear from a company called Loud Parade about the power of audio for brands, and particularly bespoke music in audio to attract the next generation of Gen Z, or what I would probably call Gen Z consumers. Please welcome to the stage Rahmon, Agbaje and Maatin Adewunmi, co-founders of Loud Parade.
Hi everyone, my name's Rahmon.
And I'm Maatin.
And we are Loud Parade, the award-winning music creative agency recognised by Forbes 30 Under 30, Campaign Magazine's Media Week 30 Under 30, and Cannes Lions. We solve everything music and sound for brands, creative agencies, and production companies. We also use data and AI to test the return of investment impact of music and audio assets. Now today, we're going to be speaking to you about Gen Z and how you can use bespoke audio and music to attract them. Now, what a mysterious term, Gen Z. Who exactly are Gen Z? Now, if we look at it technically, it's anyone who was born from 1997 to 2010, but the way I would describe it is really a movement or an attitude. I'm sure those with kids in the room know they're very fiery. Now, when it comes to Gen Z, they are digitally native. They're probably the first generation that actually had the internet on mass adoption, and they've been very clever with these tools, building their own businesses, also doing Depop, Etsy, all of these different tools around them. They're using it to be entrepreneurial and to express themselves. And another thing you guys should know about Gen Z, and this is something you guys should take away, I think, is that 37% of them actually attend events that are political, activist, or are to do with protesting more than once a week. Now that is insane. It shows that they care about community building and they want to express themselves and be heard. Now, just looking at the stats, Gen Z make up 19% of the UK's population, which is a sizable number. And probably more importantly, for those who are retailers in the room, when you combine it with millennials, they make up for 25% of total retail spend. Now this is important because this stat is only just going to increase.
Now, as we've seen, Gen Z the purchasing power of Gen Z is only going to get bigger and bigger. So brands now going to try and appeal and advertise to Gen Z more. And we can see that radio is actually a good way to do this. Now, naturally, as we all expect, for those who are aged 35 plus, the penetration rate is over 91%. And most people think that the penetration rate would be much lower for Gen Z, but this actually isn't the case. Yes, it's lower than for the older demographics, but it still has a 78% penetration rate, showing that radio is still a good way to actually attract and advertise to this audience.
Yeah. Now, relating that back to Gen Z, we have to really understand what youth culture is. Now, culture, technically speaking, is the customs or norms of a particular society. But the way I look at culture is it's something that's evolving and changing. If you look at social media, anyone can impact culture. So many people have gone viral with memes, you just never know who's going to be the next meme. Try not to trip up, or you might actually end up as one. Now, when it comes to culture, we look at things like TV, we look at advertising, we look at social trends. These are all facets of culture, and that's important to understand when you're trying to appeal to Gen Z, particularly on radio, to make it relevant. Now, just going through some stats, 38% of consumers think that a brand's involvement in culture is important. 39% see that consumers prefer brands with a higher cultural relevance. And importantly, 25% of a consumer's purchasing decisions are made up of cultural influence. And this shows the importance of culture when it comes to actually engaging with Gen Z. And that also shows the power of music in particular, because music is the one thing that permeates all facets of culture. I mean, who watched the Super Bowl here? You didn't really. You watched Usher's performance, which is the music element of the Super Bowl. So case in point, it shows that music is such an important part of the different facets of culture. Now, relating it back to audio, it's important to note that Gen Z love music. Over 90% of Gen Z stream music, which shows it's a large majority. And this is even more than other forms of media, such as gaming and video. My man Stormzy there. 68% of Gen Z say that the song choice that you use has a big impact with the brand. If you feature a song that they like, they're more likely to engage with it. And then, really important here, over 20 hours a week is listened to by the average listener when it comes to music. So again, music can be your secret weapon when building trust with Gen Z. And that's because it's a gateway to emotions. It's a gateway to authenticity, and it's a way to bring them into culture, particularly you as a brand or an agency.
So, in summary, music is a big part of a Gen Z's personality. And at Loud Parade, this is something we try and bring across, and it's something we try and show in our work. We know that when you want to appeal to Gen Z, it's about being authentic and also being subtle. Gen Z don't want to be sold to directly. They don't want like outright jingles where the brand name is dropped every 10 seconds. They want something with a bit more fun and upbeat. And we've got a couple examples to show you. So our first example is a piece of work that we did for JD and Nike.
JD have just released the first virtual shoe try-on branded effect on TikTok. It's for the Nike Vapor Max.
I'm 10 toes down in the ends in my night trainers. White vapors, fresh out the box looking like flavours. If I give man a tick, then that's life changing. I got 8s and 9s, but the size ranges. And you better know I'm on an Air Max ting. If you step onto my crep, then I will air that ting. Are you ready from the ends? Do you really hustle? Grab the JD bag and make it be shuffle.
Our next example is a piece of work that we did for Ben & Jerry's. Now, if you listen carefully, all their favourite flavours are name-dropped, but again done in a subtle way.
Can I get a taste?
Can I get a taste? I've been in the mood for a change of the flavour. Ben & Jerry's caramel choo-choo craver. Cookie dough shape or the half-baked strawberry cheesecake. Can I get a taste? I've been in the mood for a change of the flavour. Ben & Jerry's caramel choo-choo craver. Cookie dough shape or the half-baked strawberry cheesecake. Can I get a taste?
I just need a chocolate brownie. Put them all around me. Swimming in the flavour, don't drown me. If you see me take another scoop, just allow me. I still do it proudly. Salted caramel brownie I like. Strawberry cheesecake, apple of my eye. Sunny honey home, I just want another bite. But a Netflix and chilled is the best in the night.
Can I get a taste? I've been in the mood.
So some of you bopping along, so love that. But yeah, that just shows that when we created those pieces of work, we just want to name drop the brand because that's what the brands asked for, but we want to do it in a subtle way and an authentic way. And that's a key part of trying to use bespoke music and audio to attract a Gen Z audience. Now, as we mentioned earlier, music is a big part of a Gen Z's personality, and this slide only further highlights that. 80% of them say that 80% of Gen Z say that audio allows them to explore a different side of their personality. And the reason that this happens is because music has such a big impact on a person's brain and the psychological build-up. And there's loads of psychological and neuroscience reports which back this up. When you listen to a piece of music that you like, it releases dopamine, which is a pleasure hormone in your brain. That's why very often when you listen to a song you like, it reminds you of moments of when you were happy or takes you back to a happy memory. But music is so powerful that if you're actually in pain or if there's any negative stimuli, listening to music can actually reduce that. That's why a lot of times there's a lot of research now around using music as a form of medicine because it's been shown to actually actively reduce the pain that one feels. But also, when you listen to music, it opens up the limbic system in your brain. And the limbic system is a part of the brain which controls your behavior and also your emotions. And emotion is super powerful when it comes to ads and especially audio ads. Now we see that positive emotion leads to more consumer action. Positive emotion also means ads are more likely to be famous because they're more likely to be spread through word of mouth. And ads that elicit a strong emotional response leads to greater recall. Now, I'm sure you all agree that when you're doing an ad, you want it to be greater recall so everyone remembers it. But we also see that specifically, bespoke music and audio can leverage these emotions to create high quality and also impactful radio ads. And that's because music subconsciously influences purchasing behavior. Ads with music are more likely to have greater business effects. So this is things such as increased attention, increased brand recall, and increased purchase intent, which you all heard about earlier today. But also distinctive audio assets, this is where it comes to bespoke element, are more likely to garner increased attention and elicit high emotional response. But not just bespoke elements, it's also making sure that you use them consistently. And ads which use consistent music or consistent audio assets are more likely to perform better. And on the topic of consistent audio assets, I've got a few sonic logos to play for you. Now, sonic logos is the audio version of a visual logo. It's a sound which you play which represents your brand and can stand the test of time. And this is a super powerful element when doing radio ads or audio-related ads. Now, here are some of the famous Sonic logos, which I'm sure you all heard of. McDonald's, obviously. Intel. The dun from Netflix, which you know you're about to watch a great show. And also for the gamers in the room. The sound when you're about to turn on your PS1 and you're about to have a great time. But all of them are related to emotion. Because all of these have been used over time, they've all built that trust and they all have that implicit emotional response where they builds that a sense of excitement or that positive emotional response. Which is why, and these are good examples of why using Sonic logos and using consistent audio are super powerful. But in summary, when you want to create an audio ad to attract and appeal to Gen Z consumers, there's a few key ways to do this. Firstly, using bespoke music and audio because bespoke music and audio are shown to create greater intrigue than using conventional music. Be consistent with audio assets, as we've seen with the Sonic logos. Be authentic because Gen Z don't want to be outwardly sold to, and they prefer things which are authentic and subtle and reach them where they are. Tap into genres which appeal to Gen Z audience. Again, make it humorous and tap into the positive emotions, which is exactly what we try to do with our Ben & Jerry's example. But also test effectiveness. Gen Z aren't a monolith, and there are many, many subcultures within Gen Z. You have different communities, and loads of Gen Zs have different things they love to do outside of work and different interests. So targeting your exact demographic within that Gen Z, targeting that exact subculture you're trying to appeal to, and testing the tracks against them specifically can be super powerful. You can see that within different subcultures, they all have different responses. So yeah, thank you, and that's us at Loud Parade.
Thank you, Maatin and Rahmon. I've just got one quick question from me, and if anyone else has got questions from the audience, but just interested how you got into this in the first place. How did you get into making the Sonic branding and the music for audio advertising? Why is that the sort of thinking behind, what you've sort of presented today?
I mean, our story starts from 10 years old. So me and Maatin have been friends since we were literally 10. Went to school and university together, so we couldn't get rid of each other. And we always wanted to start a business. And we read that Gymshark got sued $44 million for music copyright infringement. And then other brands were also facing this issue. So we said, okay, we could actually solve this issue for brands in terms of licensing music. And then on the other side, a lot of artists were struggling with record contracts and to make a living from their musical talents. We know because we were helping a lot of them out of their bad deals. So what we did is combine those two worlds together. And as music lovers and music fans and people were in the studio and seeing that talent, we wanted to harness that talent and basically create a cultural agency. So yeah, music creative agency solving those issues one step at a time.
Yeah. And then literally building on from that, my background's in behavioral science, and when we're doing pieces of work, we saw that specifically for Gen Z, a lot of brands now are trying to target Gen Z. As we've seen, they're one of the fastest growing demographics now. And we saw that music could be a good way to do this, but done authentically. And the best way to authentically target Gen Z through music is to use Gen Z music artists to create the music for them. So yeah, that's what we try and do.
Yeah, no, great combination and fascinating stuff. Any other questions? If not, thanks very much. Oh, sorry, one more question in the middle there.
One. Hi, great presentation. Can I ask how you make the music? I was wondering if it's done with specific artists or if there's any AI involved.
Great question.
Yeah, good question.
So we use AI in the testing, but not in the making of the music. We want to be artists first, so we use real-life artists to make the music. So we've got a team of artists globally, so we can make artists in all languages, across all territories. But yeah, we'll use real-life artists to make the music, and a lot of time when we do it, we'll get demos for the campaign. That could be 5 demos of all different styles and genres, give that to the brand or to the agency. They can then see which one they most prefer, and can then reiterate that to the final version, but then always make sure that we give that feedback to the artist, so they can reiterate it. So we always use real artists in our work.
Yeah, it all starts with a brief and idea, and then we bring it to life through the music and sound.
Good question. Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much to Maatin and Rahmon.
Thank you.